free world.
Yeah. My hitters be moving and shaking to stay out the streets. Yeah. Your hitters be hating, your hitters be looking so weak. Yeah. My hitters be moving and shaking to stay out the streets. Yeah. Your hitters be hating, your hitters be looking so. Snuff the shooter, snuff the looter, snuff the booster, snuff the money mover. Snuff the hater, snuff the
Hail to the culture. Once again, we are back, good people. Thank you all for tuning in. Ron, what up, bro?
What's good, man?
Not much, man. Not much. Lot for us to talk about, to say the least. Let's jump right into it, though, man. It's no need in wasting time, man. There's no need of being like the Redskins and wasting time. So let's just jump right into it, man. And let's start with this Trent Williams saga, man. Obviously, we've been talking about it since the beginning of the season. There's been a huge talking point around Redskins Nation. The Trent Williams holdout. And the holdout is officially over. Ron, before we really dissect everything, man, initial snap reaction, how you feeling about this, man?
I feel the same about this as I felt before he got there, man. I feel like nothing has changed. I still feel like he plans on not playing. It's going to be like a Antonio Brown, Jalen Ramsey situation. There's going to be a back injury, or apparently we're going to start off with a helmet issue. So I don't think he's going to play this season. I think he's just showing up to make sure that this season counts and he gets a little bit of money that they still owe him.
Yeah, and then I think one of the main things, at least following the Redskins over these past few seasons under the I guess the past 10 seasons under the Bruce Allen regime, it feels like they never want to be on the bad side of anything. They seem like they're always trying to win the petty dealings, and it seems like, man, low-key Trent Williams has emerged as the victor. So let's start dissecting things a little bit, man. With Trent Williams reporting when he did, which was today, he was able to accrue a season. So the season counts as if he played the entire season towards his contract, and he won't have to – essentially he won't be on the hook for another year, owing the Redskins an additional year for what he missed this season. So, I mean, in hindsight, man, it seems like Trent Williams won out over the Redskins. What do you think about that opinion, man? Do you think that the pettiness of the Skins, without not budging with them, not giving him a little more guaranteed money, not really understanding his big issue with them, who do you think came out on top, man? Do you think the Redskins won this, or do you think Trent is the winner in this saga?
I think it's still to be determined, because obviously they're still going to have to move him in the offseason, and it really just depends on what you get back for him. But I'm going to maintain the stance that we've had on this podcast the whole time, if you guys have been listening to us for a while now, and that's that I just don't see a lot coming back for Trent Williams. I know everybody says we want a first-round pick for him and nothing less than a first-round pick, and I agree in that. But realistically, let's say he doesn't play this season. Like he's gonna let the season count towards his contract or whatever. But let's say he's got the helmet issue, a back issue, a hamstring issue, ankle issue, whatever. He ends up not really playing the season. Well, he's been out of football for a year. He's in his 30s. He's had an injury history. Like, who's really gonna give up a first-round pick for Trent Williams at this stage of his career? It's not just a given that you're gonna get that back. So it really, to me, who wins in the saga, it really just depends on how it ends, and that's going to have to wait until the offseason, because the Redskins are just so stuck in the mud. They want to play hardball and not make any real moves. So he'll have to sit for the season most likely, and then we'll see where he goes and what they get back for him. Because Bruce Allen's petty. He's probably not going to send him off to the Patriots for a third-round pick, right?
Yeah. Now that I mean, one thing is definitely right, man, is that Bruce Allen is petty. I'd have to disagree with you just a little bit, because I feel like Trent Williams has won. I feel like Trent Williams has been the victor here. I mean, he didn't play football all season, so his body, he hadn't had any wear and tear on his body for the year. He gets an accrued season towards his contract, so he essentially just screws the Redskins even more, because any leverage they would have had while trading him would have been based around the fact that he had 2 years remaining on his deal. If it was trading him with a team this season, it would have been this year and the next season. And if he didn't get this accrued season, it would have been 2 more years, which would have gave them a little bit of, a little room to maneuver with the trade. But because these guys were bitter, petty, held on to him, without really seeking anything in return, which we'll get into in a little bit. But for that alone, I feel like I got to say that Trent Williams has won. I mean, he said from the beginning that he's not playing for the Redskins. He's yet to play for the Redskins. And in doing so, he still has an entire season accrued on his contract. So he only owes the Redskins, contractually only owes them one more season now. And that is just a major L for Bruce Allen, in my opinion, and the Redskins front office. It just goes to show you how poorly run they have been. And so just to kind of piggyback off of that, man, the fact that, and this is a report that, that kind of leaked out through Charles Robinson of NFL Network. And the report is that the Browns were willing to offer a first-round pick for Trent Williams weeks ago, but the Redskins refused to be trade partners. And then 6 weeks later, the Redskins want to try to seek a first-round pick with just hours before the trade deadline. That is just mismanagement. That, to me, sounds crazy. And that, to me, is just like, it's neglectful. It's just like you're not trying to run a business. You're not trying to run a successful team. You're just trying to be petty. You're just trying to spite people. I don't know, Rome. That really rubbed me the wrong way, man. And what did you feel about hearing that the Browns possibly had a first-round pick on the table ready to send to the Skins?
Man, yeah, if that's like Bruce Allen's negotiating style, then I just don't understand it. It just doesn't make much sense. You probably could have got more for Trent had you traded him sooner, like like before the season started, at the beginning of the season, maybe when the Browns first started having trouble at left tackle. Teams are desperate at different points of the season, and I feel like the offseason, waiting until the offseason is probably going to be a mistake. So in that sense, I would agree with you that Trent Williams does, or at least maybe if Trent Williams doesn't win out of it, the Redskins definitely lose because they didn't make the move soon enough. But I mean, it's a tough situation. As a longtime Redskins supporter, it's hard to even sit here and have a conversation about this is how Trent Williams' Redskin career is coming to an end, because I never would have guessed it would be this way.
Yeah, man. I mean, you're so right about that, man, because for years, man, Trent is like I mentioned this on a few pods ago, man, that like Trent has been the only guy over the last decade that's been in the 90s on Madden. And I know that doesn't mean much, but it means something. And what it really means is that Trent's really been our only, I don't want to say good player, but I want to say our only great player over this last decade. I mean, he's been the only guy that you could put in that great category. Maybe Ryan Kerrigan for a year here, a year there, Maybe RG3 had a 1 year of real greatness, and then you got to say Alfred Morris had a year or two of greatness. But sustained greatness, Trent Williams was the only player on the Redskins over this last decade that had that. And the fact that it's soured to this level, man, I think it's just a real indictment over that front office. I mean, if you can't make your best guy happy, who's literally been a straight soldier for you, don't get me wrong. I know he had the suspensions. He had some, a couple little issues, but Trent, man, he's been waving the Redskins flag from day one, man. And he's been a leader. He's been a leader you want. Like me and you both always go back to the time where he smacked Richard Sherman in the face, man. Like, yeah. And although like that was nasty, that's the type of leader you need on the football field. And like he's been the only one we've really had. And the fact that it's just souring like this, man, you hate to see it. You just hate to see it, man.
You really do, man.
And then on top of that, man, that insult to injury, the Browns would have gave us a first rounder. Like, come on. Like, what are you guys doing? And you want that same deal hours before the trade deadline? It just sounds crazy, man. It's really ridiculous. I mean, I feel like we can talk about Trent all day. So we might as well keep going with it.
When the Browns said they were going to give the first rounder, Bruce Allen allegedly wanted a first rounder and another player, and I can only assume it would have been either a corner or a receiver. I would want to think it was a receiver, someone that could possibly help Haskins out, because that's something else that we're about to get into right now is this whole Dwayne Haskins debacle at this point is what it's turning into. I know you got some strong thoughts on Dwayne Haskins. This is something we probably have for like the Keeping It Real segment, because I think you have a strong take on this. So I'm going to give you the floor and let you set the stage for what's going on with Dwayne Haskins right now.
Oh yeah, man. Let's get into it, man. And then one thing I want to add is what I'm about to say about Dwayne Haskins, I just want to preface it with this. It all comes back on the front office. Before I even start, I just want to say that what I'm going to say is not really an indictment on Dwayne Haskins. It's not really an indictment on Trent Williams. It's just an indictment on that front office. And just to, put this into perspective a little bit, man, I'm about to sound off for a second. But with all this news, surrounding the team, man, I dropped a tweet the other day. And I said, I'm a Skins fan for life. I'm a Skins fan for life till I die. But I must admit, this is one of the most poorly run organizations in the history of sports. And I didn't want to tweet that. I really didn't want to, but I just had to get it off my chest. And at the time, Twitter was the only place I could go to. I know that's bad. But I was reminded of Eagles fans in that tweet, man. Because obviously, I got fans of all sorts of teams following me. And an Eagles fan decided to tweet the following. Acceptance is the first step. I just want to know, what is acceptance the first step to? Like, this is how dumb Eagles fan. I'm sorry I got to sound off about this wrong, but I got to, man. This Eagles fan responded, oh, good job. Acceptance is the first step. The first step to what? Me changing the owner of my football team? Me changing things that I can't control? No, it's not the first step to anything. I've known this for years. We as fans have known this for years. But as diehard fans, we turn the cheek. We keep it pushing. We don't focus on the negative. You see? But these fans, like these Eagles fans, think, oh, yeah, acceptance, that's the first step. The first step to what? What is it the first step to? I was going to respond to the tweet, but it was so stupid and it had just so little, actual, logic behind it. I just left it there. But anybody that's looking at Redskins fans who are coming out and saying things like commenting on how poorly the organization's run, if your response is, yeah, acceptance is the first step, no, it's not. It's not the first step. It's not any step. Me accepting that my team is poorly run is not going to help my team get anywhere. So I just had to sound off about that, man. So let's jump into Haskins. My overall thoughts, I got two thoughts, man. Two major thoughts, okay? And they both are indictments on everybody except Dwayne Haskins, But don't get me wrong, Dwayne Haskins deserves some blame. But two main thoughts. First, if Dwayne Haskins isn't quote-unquote ready, he's not quote-unquote ready to diagnose defenses, quote-unquote ready to break huddles, quote-unquote ready to call plays and to recite plays from the head coach or from the offensive coordinator. If he was not ready for these things, that's something that should have been identified before pre-draft processes or in pre-draft processes. You identify that in the pre-draft and you say, okay, this guy's got all the intangibles, but he's not ready. And you know what that means? That means he's not a first-round pick if he's not ready. Okay, that's one school of thought. Let me roll into the second school of thought. Second school of thought is, if the guy is not ready, has not received first-team reps consistently in practice, or has not started any games this season, how or when or ever, is there ever a moment you actually expect him to be ready without getting him ready? How do you expect someone to be ready without getting him ready? Don't get me wrong. If it's mentally he can't handle the things, that's what should have been identified in pre-draft. And you just shouldn't have drafted him in the first round. But if you're telling me right now he's not ready because he's not prepared, and you're the people that are supposed to prepare him, who am I supposed to point my finger at? So I'm just going to stop right there for a second. Obviously, I got way more to say, but Rome, hop in with me, man.
Okay. So your first school of thought, I believe that was Jay Gruden's school of thought. I really do. I believe he was thinking more along the lines, and I believe that was probably Dave Gettleman's school of thought, the Giants and everyone else who might have potentially needed a quarterback that didn't draft Haskins. Their train of thought was simple. We don't have time for a guy who played 13 games. And, again, like you said, this is not an indictment on Dwayne, but a lot of NFL executives, because I work in business, I work with executives, I'm in meetings, and I understand these people are about bottom lines. And people aren't going to sit there and say, oh, do I have time to develop a guy who's only played 13 games at the college level? And, yeah, he was elite in those 13 games, but it's just 13 games. Do we have time to sit and develop him and bring him along when we're in win-now mode? So I think that first school of thought is a little bit more along the lines of what's accurate with Dwayne. And like you said, it's not an indictment on Dwayne. He's a tremendous talent. It's the team's job, it's the coaching staff's job to get him ready. It's the organization's job to have a coaching staff in place that is structured and supported, that has the time necessary to do the things that are necessary to bring him along at whatever speed he may need to be brought along. So I don't think it's that they drafted him at the wrong spot. I think it's that the dysfunction of the Redskins is detrimental to Dwayne. Because I honestly think, from what we've seen so far, he's just gotten thrown in games when Case Keenum's gotten hurt. So what is that? What are you doing with your precious egg that you need to take care of and keep warm until it's ready to hatch? You just throw it out there in the street with all the cars going by? Like, it's ridiculous. The way that they're handling Dwayne Haskins is ridiculous. And if he can mentally make it through this, then he will come out a better quarterback at the end.
Oh, man, you dropped the bar on that last line. If he can make it out of this, he will definitely be a better quarterback for it, because it's just ridiculous, man. And I think one of the things you were getting at that I couldn't agree more with is the fact that the Redskins is becoming clear that they had no real plan for Dwayne Haskins. See, when you have a plan,
none.
Like anyone that's ever accomplished anything, I don't care if it's getting a job, elevating in your job, working out, getting your body right, whatever it is, everyone that's ever accomplished anything knows you have to have a plan. And if you're really, really focused in, you don't just have a plan. You have a plan for the plan, which they call a backup plan. And then if you're really, really focused in, you don't just have one backup plan. You might even have two backup plans. But the Redskins, they clearly had no plan. You see, they went into the season knowing that they were going to fire their head coach, or at least knowing that it was pretty likely they could fire their head coach. Fire him 5 games, or what is it? How many games into the season? Whatever. You're going 5 games into the season. They fire their coach, and then you just have no plan after that. You just throw Callahan out there with no plan. We're going to run the ball. But what's the plan? What's the plan for the future? When are we building? This season is lost when you're 0-5 and you fire your coach. Callahan's not going to bust out 9 straight games like AP seems to believe is possible. It's not happening. Where's the plan, Redskins? And I think that's the biggest thing that bothers me is that, like, okay, maybe Haskins was just a piece of clay that's super moldable and could one day be a masterpiece. But in the meantime, where's the plan to get him to that? Was this just going to be a lost season?
Yeah.
And Rome, man, I think, Rome, low-key, I think I know what the plan is, bro. And I swear I hate to say this, bro, but the real Redskins plan is Alex Smith in 2020, bro. I'm telling you, bro, that's what they're thinking, bro. I know this organization, bro. I know what they're thinking. What they're going to try to do is, bro, they're going to try to roll Alex Smith out there after a broken leg and damn near losing his leg. Watch them try to roll him out there in 2020. Watch them try to make Dwayne Haskins skip behind them for another year and then tell us that Dwayne's still not ready, that Alex gives the best chance to win. And they really think that all the fans are just going to be with that. I'm not. But I'm telling you right now, bro, when it happens, I'm going to come on the pod and I'm going to be upset that I was right.
Okay. Well, so I agree with you on the part where you say that there was no plan in place. Like, if Haskins is clay, what's the plan for while we're molding the clay? Case Keenum was originally the plan because, well, and this all would have been perfect had Alex Smith not broke his leg, but obviously that was a terrible situation. But Case Keenum was the plan, and I was hopeful that Case Keenum could get us through a stretch of 5 to 8 games. He literally made it 3 before he just completely crumbled. And whether it's injuries, which a lot of it could be injuries because he's looked horrible, or just him flat out regressing, either way, it has been a complete debacle with Case Keenum at quarterback. And now you can't put Colt McCoy in there because, honestly, I don't know who, if anybody other than maybe Jay Gruden on the planet, believes that Colt McCoy will do any better. You have no real quarterback, no real starting quarterback to play in place of Haskins while he sits. So what's the best thing to do? Play him. You have to play him now. There's just no getting around it. You have to roll that precious little egg, like I said earlier, into the street. And if it cracks, hopefully it just hatches and it's a badass dragon that was in that egg. Like, Haskins is gonna have to go through trial by fire now, because that is just what this organization has created. They've created nothing but chaos, and maybe Haskins can bloom into something amazing in the midst of that chaos. But that's where we're at right now. And if they don't play him after the bye week, which is where I've always been at with Haskins, and he needs to play after the bye week, regardless of how well Case Keenum played or didn't. You got to play him after the bye week, and what you see is what you get at that point. If he still isn't ready to call out the plays, like a lot of the reports have said, he's not able to verbally say the plays and get to the line quick enough, which could present a huge problem because if you can't get to the line quick enough, a lot of the NFL is mental and it's pre-snap. We all ooh and ah what they do physically and all this, but a lot of it is pre-snap, especially as the quarterback. You got to get to the line, read what you see before the play's even happening, and then have an idea of what you need to do or what shifts or calls you need to make, protections, all that kind of stuff. So if he's having trouble getting the play out and they're getting to the line with not enough time to make all these shifts and motions and all this, then that's going to slow up everyone. It's going to mess up everyone. People are going to line up wrong. They're not going to do the right things, and the play is going to look sloppy. If he's not able to get that straightened out on his own by the bye week, then that's an indictment on Dwayne Haskins at that point. So it's either a huge indictment on the coaches and Kevin O'Connell, Tim Rattay, and all those guys for not being able to get him to that point, or it's an indictment on him for not taking it serious enough to get to that point. But after the bye week, in my opinion, there's just flat-out zero excuses on why Haskins isn't able to command the huddle and whatnot. So, or have a package of plays that he can just go out there and play. So at that point, from the bye week on, whatever you see with Haskins, in my opinion, is what you get. He was either worth the 15th pick or he was a bust. And that's what I plan to see at the end of the bye or after the bye week is over.
Yeah, and I think you make a great point, man. Is that the rest of this season will definitely let us know if Haskins is, our QB1 of the future or a bust. Now, I just want to say this real quick: him playing badly the rest of this season does not make him a bust. And I want people to be very clear about that. And we all know, all of our listeners know, I've been in the camp of start Dwayne Haskins from day one, trial by fire. And the reason of that, because I felt like a few games in, he would be able to kind of, shake some things off. He would be able to get used to the speed of the game, get used to the play calling, get used to his new play caller, get used to his new receivers, get used to everything. It takes some time to get used to anything. And that's one of the main reasons why I wanted him to start. So later in the season, we could really see what we had. But now, we're going to see what we have. And just him playing bad does not mean he is a bust. Now, him, if he gets to start, let's say, starting this week, and in 4 weeks, he still can't control the huddle. If in 4 weeks he still can't if in 6-7 weeks he's still having the same problems he had in his very first start, okay, then you can raise an eyebrow. But just him playing bad, throwing picks, whoopie-whoop, that's not going to signal bust to me. What's going to signal bust to me is work ethic things, things like not getting in and out the huddle, not getting the plays, not missing motions like they said, like I think AP said he did last game. These are the things that will prove if he is our QB for the future, which I still believe he is. But I just want fans to know him playing poorly, don't look at the stats to try to figure out if he's the QB1 of the future. Look at the intangibles. Look at the little things. And don't forget, Jared Goff, after his first season when he was with Jeff Fisher, he looked like a bust. All of a sudden, Sean McVay gets there, and he looks like a star. Now, now he's kind of regressed to the mean a little bit. But I'm just saying, everyone wrote him off as a bust after that year. And the very next year, everybody was saying he was one of the best young quarterbacks, up-and-coming quarterbacks in the league. So let's make sure we're looking for the right things, and we'll definitely be, keeping our eyes on that as a podcast. We'll definitely make sure we're giving you guys the little things. We're keeping our eyes on the little things, and we're not just indicting Dwayne Haskins off of bad play. Because never forget, and if you need any proof, just go back and look up Peyton Manning's first year in the NFL. Look at how many interceptions he threw, and we all know he's maybe the greatest of all time. So let's be slow with our judgment, and let's really judge off of the little things instead of the actual stats and the numbers. Let's judge him off the intangibles.
Yeah, man. I mentioned it a couple pods ago. If Redskin fans want to see Haskins play, you guys better be ready for him to watch him struggle. Because we've been debating this for a while now on if Haskins can play. I've been on the side of he needs to sit, but at some point he needs to play. And we've gotten to that point sooner than I would have rather gotten to it because of the dysfunction of the organization. But as it pertains to this week's game against the Bills and Buffalo, who have a pretty good defense, it's looking like Haskins might get the start because Keenum is still in concussion protocol. So what are your expectations for this week? Sorry.
Man. My expectations as far as starter, I think they're going to roll with Dwayne Haskins. I think this week will be Dwayne Haskins' first start. And it's going to be tough because we're going against a tough defense. I mean, the Bills are not a joke, but I do believe that if Dwayne's ever going to start, this long week might not be the worst time for it. Obviously, we had the Thursday night game. That gives us a little bit longer to prepare. And outside the bye week, because the bye week would have been ideal, but if there was any other week to point to say this is the best time for him to start, it would be after that Thursday game when we get a little bit longer to prepare. So if they roll Dwayne out there, I will actually be excited. Because I'm going to be honest, man. Dwayne Haskins coming into the game is like, don't get me wrong, we're watching, guys like me and you, we're watching Skins games no matter who they roll out. I mean, we were watching Skins games when it was my boy Josh Johnson. We don't care, you know. But
yeah.
When Dwayne Haskins gets put in the game, you know, I feel the juices flowing a little more as a fan. I'm like, okay, let me get a little closer to my television, you know. So I think, man. And like you said, man, a lot of these corporations, and I think the Redskins have proven this over and over again, are about the bottom line. And we all know, man, Dan Snyder's bottom line is butts in the seats and eyes on the television. And I think I think one another reason they're going to go ahead and start Haskins because they're realizing that's what's going to put eyes back on them. You know, their fans are not just going to keep coming back. You know, unless you're a crazy diehard like us, unfortunately. I mean, you're not just going to watch, you know, trash football. And I think Dwayne Haskins is that key to kind of getting the fan base to come back around and check out what's going on.
Well, you bring up an excellent point with that because, yeah, you have diehard fans who are going to watch no matter what, but then you have casual fans who don't know too much about the game, but what they do know is touchdowns. And that's one thing the Redskins haven't scored in the past few weeks is touchdowns. They didn't score at all against the 49ers and they didn't score any touchdowns against the Vikings. So I think I agree with you. I was saying after the bye week, but now that I'm thinking about it, Haskins got to start now. You have the long week because we had the Thursday game, and the offense has done nothing. It has done nothing. It doesn't even matter how bad Haskins plays if he plays bad because it doesn't really get much worse than it's been. You can't even score a touchdown, and that's the goal of the game. So my expectations, even if Haskins does start this game, which I also believe he'll start, my expectations are fairly low. I'm not expecting a win, but I do expect it to be competitive because I've been impressed with the defense recently, which at some point on the podcast we will talk about that we'll bring up the defense again because I was killing Minuski and those guys on that side of the ball. And they've played fairly well as of late. We'll see how they do up in Buffalo. But there's some positive things. That we've kind of gotten into the whole Trent Williams thing and been killing Bruce Allen lately. But there's some positive things despite us being 1-7 that we'll get to on the podcast. But, yeah, man, as far as it goes for this week in Haskins, I'm not expecting much, but I do expect him to start. And I expect to see I want to see turnover-free football, but, again, like we were just saying, I'm not going to be surprised if he goes out there and throws some picks or whatnot. We just got to be patient as Skins fans and Skins supporters. We got to be patient with Haskins.
Yeah, that's a fact, man. And just to kind of bring it back to the most we saw Haskins. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know we've seen him in spot duty recently, but dating back to the preseason is the most we really saw Haskins play. And one thing I was always making notes of, man, is the kid got better every single game in the preseason. Like from the first, if you go back and watch the film, man, the kid was more confident every game. He was getting better game in game. Like by the game, he's just getting better. And I think that throwing him in the way we did, we're not going to just see him get better. Like, for example, those first two games he got thrown in, Giants and Vikings, we can't, grade those and say, okay, well, he should look better against the Bills because he had those two under his belt, because those really don't count. It wasn't game plan for him. It wasn't, he wasn't the starter. But I think this Bills game and going forward, I think another thing we should all be watching for Dwayne is him getting better and better and better as the games go on. Because to me, he's demonstrated that to me, that he's the type of guy that, he doesn't really make a lot of the same mistakes over and over again, and he seems to build off a strong performance, or he builds off things he does well. And I think that will be another big thing heading into the Bills game, is this will be his first real game. So after this first game, we should see marked improvements in the second game. At least that's what I anticipate. One thing I'll say is, like, the Bills, man, they're a good team, but their hot start, they were a little I think they were a little over their heads on what they thought they were. They were started comparing themselves to the Patriots and, power ranking themselves in the top 5, and that Eagles loss brought them back down to earth, man. We all saw that. I mean, the Bills, they're a tough defense, but they're still an offense that's void of playmakers. And as are the Redskins. So this could be one of those low-scoring games. I don't see the Bills running up, 25 to 30 points on us. I see us keeping it, somewhere in the teens. Maybe the game creeps into the 20s, but I'm expecting an ugly ball game. And I do think that if the Redskins are victorious, the difference will be it'll be a bomb from Dwayne Haskins to Terry McLaurin. That'll be the difference in the game. If Dwayne Haskins starts one bomb, he's the type of quarterback that one bomb will, and especially with the Bills being the defense and the team that they are, one big play against them, and you could have a win just based off their offense stagnating. So you stop Josh Allen, man, key in on him, make sure we're not allowing him to escape the pocket and get rushing yards. And this is a game the Skins could possibly win.
Yeah, I think the goal for this game should be build confidence for Dwayne, actually, now that I think about it a little harder. Build some confidence for Dwayne. That's what I want to see, is just a nice package of plays with him, hand it to AP a bunch, let him get some confidence. And then when we come back from the bye week, we'll also have Darius Geis. That's something that I wanted to mention. Darius Geis will be back, and maybe they will run it 55 times of the I formation with AP and Geis and a young rookie quarterback like Haskins. But it might, the second half of the season might not be as bad as we think. I agree with your analysis of the Bills. I'm not that impressed by them. A lot of people were comparing them to the Patriots and whatnot. I like their defense. Their defense has been impressive to me, but I'm not a Josh Allen guy. What are your thoughts on Josh Allen before we get out of here? I was never sold on Josh Allen in last year's draft, and I'm still not really. He's kind of like a Mitch Trubisky to me.
Yeah, and I do like that. I mean, I see what you mean by Mitch Trubisky, but one thing I'll say about Allen, man, and when I was ranking him coming out of college, man, I compared him to you're not gonna like this, bro, but he's a light version to me of Cam Newton. And I know he's gonna get the Trubisky comparisons, maybe even get some Wentz comparisons, but I say that he's a light Cam Newton because Allen, to me, man, when he's on the move, when he's on the run, this dude is not like he's Mitchell Trubisky-esque, as in he'll miss some easy balls. But as a runner, man, this dude is more dynamic than he's ever been given credit for. Well, he's gotten the credit probably in Buffalo, but league-wide, he doesn't get so much credit as an athlete. But this dude is an athlete, man, and he makes plays with his legs that very few quarterbacks have. Even the moxie to attempt to make, or even the size. For example, I mean, Josh Allen's a bigger dude. He's got to be 6'5", somewhere around 220. He's about Cam Newton's size, a little smaller, but he's around that size, and he can take some hits, man. He'll put his head down, he'll get extra yards, and when he gets moving with his legs, and that's the thing, man. Like I always say, the Redskins have been so terrible over the years against mobile quarterbacks. So whenever we're playing a guy that's mobile, especially the Josh Allen type of mobile, where man, he's looking to get downhill. Like he's looking for that direct route to the first down. That worries me because historically the Skins have just been poor at guarding those type of quarterbacks.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say to you. Josh, the only thing that scares me for this game with Josh Allen is his ability to run, because that's always given the Redskins fits. But he doesn't scare me from the standpoint of his arm or making plays. If we could contain Josh Allen, I'm not too worried about Frank Gore either. Although the thought of a defensive game with Frank Gore and AP at running back, that actually gets me excited. I know there's not too many people excited about the Redskins Bills this weekend, but I'm actually real excited about this matchup.
Nah, I mean, facts, man. You got two first-ballot Hall of Famers at RB. I mean, Frank Gore to me is first ballot. AP to me is first ballot. I mean, those we might be looking at two of the greatest running backs. Well, not might. We're looking at two of the greatest running backs of the last generation and of this generation, because they're still damn good. So this could be just one of those games where like you don't realize the historical context until you're really watching it and appreciating it. And like you said, man, I'll appreciate a defensive matchup just as much as I would an offensive one. But that's just that type of football fan we are, man. We're a little different. We're a little different. But it wouldn't be us if I didn't throw this out here, man. What's the score prediction, Rom? Redskins Bills, man. Give me a final score and what you think. Predictions.
I'm gonna go Redskins with the upset. Where I believe the Vegas has us at like 9.5 underdogs in Buffalo, but I'm gonna go Redskins with the upset. I'm gonna go Redskins 23, Bills 20. We win it on a last-second field goal. And we get our W before we go another bye week. 2-7. That doesn't even sound happy.
No,
we
that
win,
doesn't.
and I'm still not like 2-7. Like, damn.
Yeah, man. No, that doesn't sound good at all. I agree with you in the fact that the Redskins will upset they'll upset, but it will only upset the point spread. The Skins are not winning this game against the Bills. But 9.5, that's a ton of points, man, for the Buffalo Bills. I don't care who they're playing. That's too many points for the Buffalo Bills. I got the Bills winning. I'm gonna go with, I'm gonna say 19-13. Bills victory, man. It's gonna be one of those weird games, one of those weird scores where it's just like, one of those games where you really got to be a real football fan to appreciate it. But I don't see the Skins getting out of there with a W, man. I just think that.
Do you see us scoring a touchdown?
You know what? Wrong. I do. It just won't come from the offense.
Yeah, I got to score in two. I got to score in two, but only one on offense. Dwayne Haskins or AP will get one, and then it's going to be special teams, something crazy. That's how we're going to win. Special teams.
Nah, I'm there with you, man. I do think we will score a touchdown just because this touchdown drought is just ridiculous. I just don't think it's going to come from the offense. Like I said, man, if Dwayne Haskins does start, I do think he'll probably throw a bomb for a touchdown. That's another thing that's kind of messing with my predictions. I'm still on the fence if, we're not sure if Haskins is starting or not. So I should do 2 separate predictions, but I'm gonna stick with it, man. 19-13.
Yeah.
Skins lose to the Bills, man. And honestly, we would be best served to lose the rest of our game to get a great pick. I'm never for tanking, but Chase Young, he would look great in the Redskins uniform.
I need us to win 4 more games. I gotta bet. I need us to win 4 more games.
Hey, look, man, you gotta bet, and we're a team, man. So I need us to win 4 more too, man. So let's do that, man. But, yeah, it's been some dark days this year for Skins fans. But guys, look, I don't know how you guys feel as fans, but I know me and Rome, we always tend to take just a little bit of the optimistic route, mainly because we're football fans, and there's still football going down every week. We're still going to support our team. We're just not going to support the front office and the foolery that goes on, week after week. You know what I mean? We're only supporting the players. I'm a supporter of the players. I'm a Redskins players fan. I'm not even a Redskins fan. I'm a Redskins players fan. I love the Redskins players. That's kind of how I feel at this point, man.
That's fact.
Yeah, man. So, hey, man, I appreciate everyone, for checking out this episode. Any Skins fans that's still listening, that means you a diehard too. Because at this point, we got 1 victory and you still listening to the podcast. You a real fan just like us. So
1-7, man. 1-7.
It's 1-7. Ridiculous, man. So, hey, stay true to your fandom, man. This will turn around. We will see brighter days. Redskins Nation, we still here. And, hey, hail to the Nationals.
Yeah, man, let's go. Let's go, Nationals. Big game tonight. We should shout that out, actually, because that is big. I'm actually very excited for that. Hopefully that can rub off. Hopefully Dan Snyder and Bruce Allen are watching how our team can actually win and get somewhere in D.C. Because that'll be big, man. And as hype as everyone is for the Nationals, when that day comes for the Redskins, man, like imagine how the city is right now for the Nationals. And people aren't even that big of baseball fans. Some people are, but then you have people that aren't even big baseball fans that are going crazy right now. Imagine when the Redskins get back to that glory, man. When the better days come, this podcast will be one of the happiest, most glorious podcasts on the face of the planet.
Man, they're not going to be able to tell us nothing. And then when that day comes, I'm coming for all those Eagles, Cowboys, Giants fans that have been doing me dirty over these years. I'm coming for y'all. Just know. So, hey, once again, guys, thanks for tuning in. If you haven't downloaded the Gas Sports for the Culture app, go to your app store, type in Gas Network, download the app. You can listen to Hail to the Culture and many other podcasts anytime. Check out all the articles we do. Check out everything we do, man. It's always evolving. Gas Sports for the Culture. Appreciate you guys for listening. Once again, Hail to the Culture.
Your hitters be hating, your hitters be looking so weak. My hitters be moving and shaking to stay out the street. Your hitters be hating, your hitters be looking so. Snuff the shooter, snuff the looter, snuff the booster, snuff the money mover. Snuff the hater, snuff the player, snuff your hairline, tape up and shape up. Snuff the shooter, snuff the looter, snuff the booster, snuff the